The message came at exactly 0800 hours, Earth Standard Time. Ambassador Kyung-ho Park stood in the communication chamber of the orbital station New Seoul, watching as holographic images of 12 different alien species appeared before him. Their faces were cold, their eyes hard. At the center stood the Vorthak War Prime, a creature that looked like a cross between a lizard and a machine. Humans of Earth, the War Prime spoke, his voice deep and threatening. I am Kethmore of the Vorthak Empire. I speak for the Galactic Confederation. We have watched your species for 50 years. We have seen enough. Kyung-ho felt his heart beating faster, but he kept his face calm. He had been Earth's ambassador for 10 years. He had seen alien politics before, but never like this. Never this serious. Your people are dangerous, Kethmore continued. You expand too fast. You fight too much. You do not follow the rules that keep peace in our galaxy. The Confederation has made a decision. You will surrender immediately. The other alien species nodded. Kyung-ho recognized some of them. The blue-skinned Villani who controlled the trade routes. The rock-like granite lords who were older than human civilization. The energy beings called the Flux who lived in stars. All of them were united against humanity. What do you mean by surrender? Kyung-ho asked, though he feared he already knew the answer. All humans will leave Earth, Kethmore said. You will go to worlds we have chosen for you. Special places where you can live safely, away from other species, away from trouble. Kyung-ho's blood ran cold. He had heard stories about these special places. Other species had been sent there. None had ever returned. And if we refuse? He asked. Kethmore's lizard-like face showed what might have been a smile. Then we will make you go. The Confederation fleet has 50,000 ships. How many do you have? 200? 300? You have 72 hours to decide, another alien added. This one was from the hive mind, a species that thought with one brain shared among billions. Send your answer on all frequencies. Surrender or face the consequences. The transmission ended. Kyung-ho was alone in the chamber, staring at empty space where the aliens had been. His hands were shaking. He reached for his communication device. 30 minutes later, he was on a secure channel with Earth. Captain Mi-young Lee of the Earth Defense Fleet was on the screen. Behind her, Kyung-ho could see the bridge of the flagship Indomitable. The crew looked worried. How bad is it? Mi-young asked. As bad as it gets, Kyung-ho replied. They want total surrender. Every human off Earth in what they call preservation colonies. Preservation colonies, Mi-young repeated. That sounds friendly. It's not. I've done my research. 12 other species have been sent to preservation colonies in the past 1,000 years. None of them exist anymore. Mi-young was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded. I'll inform Strategic Command. This goes to the top immediately. 2 hours later, the most important people on Earth were gathered in a secure bunker beneath Strategic Command. Commander Tae-min Kim sat at the head of the table. Admiral So-ra Choi was on his right, General Woo Jin-han on his left. Around the table sat scientists, military officers, and government leaders. Let's be honest about our situation, Tae-min said. We have 247 combat ships. They have 50,000. Our population is 8 billion. Theirs is in the trillions. If this becomes a straight fight, we lose. Then we don't fight straight, Woo Jin said. We run. Take as many people as we can to the outer colonies. Make them chase us. Run where? So-ra asked. They control the galaxy. There's nowhere to go. We could negotiate, suggested Dr. Yoon Seo Kim, the head of the science division. Maybe find a compromise. With what? Tae-min asked. They hold all the cards. The argument went on for hours. Some wanted to fight. Others wanted to run. A few still hoped for peace. But deep down, everyone knew the truth. Humanity was trapped. Then a young communications officer named Hye-jin Yoon burst into the room. She was pale and breathing hard. Sir, she said to Tae-min, I've been monitoring alien communications. I think you need to hear this. She activated a recording device. Alien voices filled the room, speaking in their own language. But the translation was clear. The humans will surrender, one voice said. When they do, we begin Phase 2. Remind me of Phase 2, another voice replied. Complete elimination. We tell them the colonies are temporary, but they are permanent. Within 1 generation, the human problem will be solved. The room fell silent. Everyone stared at the device. They're not relocating us, So-ra whispered. They're killing us. All of us, Woo Jin added. Tae-min stood up slowly. He looked around the table at the faces of Earth's leaders. Some looked angry. Others looked scared. But all of them looked determined. "Vote," Taman said. "All in favor of surrender?" No hands rose. "All in favor of negotiation?" Again, no hands. "All in favor of fighting?" Every hand in the room went up. Taman nodded. He walked to the communication console and opened a channel to Captain Jae-Sung Oh, who was waiting aboard the communication ship Herald. "Captain Oh," Taman said, "send our response on all frequencies. Every alien ship in the system should hear it." "What's the message, sir?" Taman looked around the room one more time. His fellow humans looked back at him. They had made their choice. Tell them, "You chose battle. Now watch how we fight." The message went out across space. Every alien ship received it. Every alien species heard it. In the far corners of the galaxy, beings who had never heard of humans suddenly knew their name. On Earth, 8 billion people waited. They knew what was coming. The aliens would come with their 50,000 ships. They would come with weapons that could destroy planets. They would come expecting easy victory, but they didn't know humans. They didn't know what Earth had been preparing for 50 years. They didn't know about the secret projects, the hidden bases, the weapons that existed only in classified files. They thought they were hunting sheep. They were about to learn they had cornered wolves. The 72 hours were up. Humanity had given its answer. Now the real war would begin. The alien fleet appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system like a dark cloud blotting out the stars. Admiral Daehyun Lim watched from the lunar base Lunar Gate as thousands of ships dropped out of hyperspace. Each one was bigger than Earth's largest vessel. Their weapons could level mountains. "Count them," Daehyun ordered. His aide, Lieutenant Sungmin Park, worked at his console. 12,000 in the first wave, sir. More coming every minute." Daehyun nodded grimly. Earth's entire fleet was 247 ships. The aliens had sent 50 times that number just in their opening attack. "All ships, this is Admiral Lim," he broadcast to the human fleet. "Remember the plan? Hit and run. Make them chase you. Don't try to be heroes." The first battle lasted 6 hours. Human ships darted in and out of the alien formation like mosquitoes attacking elephants. They scored some hits, destroyed a few enemy vessels. But the math was simple. For every alien ship destroyed, humanity lost 3. Captain Junho Kim died when his destroyer Defiant took a direct hit from a Vorthak battlecruiser. Commander Sujin Lee's frigate Courage lasted 10 minutes against 4 alien fighters. Major Hyun-Woo Park ejected from his damaged ship just before it exploded, floating in space and watching the enemy fleet advance toward Earth. By the end of the first day, half of Earth's visible fleet was gone. The aliens had lost maybe 200 ships. To them, it was nothing. They had thousands more. "We can't keep this up," So-Ra Choi said during an emergency meeting. "They'll reach Earth in 18 hours. "No," said Dr. Yoon Seo Kim. "They won't." Everyone turned to look at her. The scientist was calm, almost smiling. "What are you talking about?" Taemin demanded. "Project Lazarus," Yoon Seo replied. "It's time." She activated a console that most of the people in the room had never seen before. Screens lit up, showing locations throughout the solar system. Asteroids, moons, space stations, all of them were marked with red symbols. "For 50 years we've been preparing," Yoon Seo explained. "Every asteroid we mined, we left something behind. Every space station we built, we hid something inside. Every moon base had a secret level." "What kind of secret?" Woo Jin asked. "Factories, automated shipyards, weapons platforms, all controlled by artificial intelligence and powered by fusion reactors. They've been building ships for decades." Engineer Donghwan Park, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. "Not big ships, small ones, fast ones, cheap ones. But there are millions of them, millions." Taemin stared at the screens. 7.3 million as of yesterday, Yoon Seo confirmed. "Everyone equipped with basic weapons, shields, and a very smart computer brain. They know how to fight. They know how to work together. And they've been waiting." She pressed a button. Across the solar system, hidden doors opened. Asteroid rocks split apart. Space stations revealed their true purpose. Moon craters that had seemed empty suddenly erupted with activity. The alien fleet was halfway to Earth when the swarm hit them. Commander Yu Jin, Song watched from the command ship Phoenix as the first wave of human drones attacked. They came from everywhere at once. Above, below, from behind asteroids, from inside comet tails. Small ships, each one no bigger than a fighter but moving in perfect coordination. "They're like insects," her tactical officer reported. "Thousands of them. No, tens of thousands. The aliens tried to respond, but they had never faced anything like this. Their ships were designed to fight other big ships in organized battles. The drones were designed to swarm. Major Sung-Ho Lee piloted one of the few manned fighters in the swarm. He watched as hundreds of drones surrounded a massive Vorthak dreadnought. They didn't attack it directly. Instead, they went for its engines, its weapons, its sensors. Like ants taking down a giant. Target the weak points, he broadcast to the drone controllers. Don't try to destroy them. Disable them. The strategy worked perfectly. Within an hour, the mighty dreadnought was floating helpless in space, its weapons offline, its engines dead. Drones swarmed over its hull like metal insects, cutting through its armor with precise laser beams. Captain Won-Sik Choi commanded the second wave of attacks. While the first drones kept the big ships busy, his group went after the alien fighters and escorts. Again, the strategy was simple: use numbers. 10 drones per enemy fighter, he ordered. Surround them. Make it impossible for them to maneuver. The aliens found themselves fighting ghosts. Every time they destroyed one drone, 2 more appeared. Every time they focused on one threat, another attacked from behind. Their advanced targeting systems, designed to track a few big targets, couldn't handle thousands of small ones. From the lunar base, Dae-hyun watched the battle turn. The alien advance had stopped. Ships that had seemed unstoppable were now struggling to survive. The dark cloud of the enemy fleet was being eaten away by a silver swarm of human drones. "How many drones are we losing?" he asked. "About 3,000 so far," his aide reported. "But we're building new ones faster than they can destroy them. The automated factories are working at full capacity." On the alien flagship, War Prime Kethmore stared at his tactical displays in disbelief. His fleet of 12,000 ships was being attacked by millions of tiny vessels. His weapons, designed to destroy planets, were almost useless against such small targets. "Where did they come from?" he demanded of his officers. "Unknown, War Prime," came the reply. "Our intelligence showed only 247 human ships." "Then our intelligence was wrong," Kethmore roared. "How many of these things are there?" "Estimates suggest over 5 million, War Prime. And more are joining the battle every hour." Kethmore felt something he had never experienced in 1,000 years of warfare: doubt. The humans were supposed to be easy prey, primitive creatures with simple ships and basic weapons. But this was something else entirely. As night fell on Earth, the battle continued in space. The alien fleet that had seemed so mighty 12 hours ago was now scattered and desperate. Hundreds of their ships had been disabled or destroyed. The rest were trying to retreat to a safe distance, but the human swarm followed them, millions of small ships, each one controlled by a computer that never got tired, never got scared, never gave up. They pursued the aliens like a pack of wolves chasing deer. In Strategic Command, Taemin watched the tactical display with amazement. The red symbols representing alien ships were disappearing one by one. The blue symbols of human forces seemed to multiply every minute. "This is just the beginning," Yunseo warned. "They'll regroup. They'll call for reinforcements. They'll come back with a better plan." "Let them come," Woojin said grimly. "We have more surprises waiting." Taemin nodded. The aliens had expected to fight the human fleet. Instead, they had encountered something new, an entire species that had turned itself into a weapon. Every asteroid was a fortress. Every space station was a factory. Every moon was a military base. The message went out again on all frequencies. "You chose battle. Now watch how we fight." This time the aliens were listening. The second alien fleet was 3 times larger than the first. War Prime Kethmore had called for the elite forces of the Vorthak Empire. These were not regular soldiers, but the veterans of 1,000 worlds. Warriors who had conquered 17 different species. They arrived with new tactics and better weapons. "This time we know what to expect," Kethmore announced to his fleet commanders. "The humans use swarm tactics. We will counter with concentrated firepower, destroy their production facilities, cut off the source of their drones." The aliens had studied the first battle. They identified the hidden factories on asteroids and moons. They brought ships specifically designed to fight small targets. They were confident this would be an easy victory. Colonel Min-ho Bae stood on the observation deck of Mars Colony, watching the alien fleet approach. The red planet had 2 million colonists, including his wife and daughter. He would not let them fall. "Sir," his aide reported, "alien landing ships are breaking off from the main fleet. They're heading for our surface installations." Min-ho nodded. This was expected. The aliens wanted to capture Mars to use as a base for attacking Earth. They thought a planet full of civilians would be easy prey. They were wrong. Activate the planetary defense grid, Minho ordered. What happened next shocked the alien invaders. The surface of Mars began to change. Mountains that had stood for millions of years suddenly split open. Desert plains revealed hidden weapons platforms. The humans hadn't just colonized Mars. They had turned it into a fortress. Scientist Ji-Won Choi watched from her laboratory as her gravitational weapons came online. For 20 years she had worked on Project Red Storm. Now, it was time to test it. Fire, she said quietly, invisible. Waves of twisted gravity reached out from Mars. The alien landing ships suddenly found themselves pulled in different directions. Their hulls buckled. Their engines failed. Some were crushed by forces they couldn't see. Others were flung into space like toys thrown by an angry child. Impossible, breathed the alien fleet commander watching from orbit. Gravity weapons are theoretical. No species has ever made them work. Humans did, his science officer replied. The readings are clear. They're manipulating space-time itself. The battle for Mars lasted 3 days. The aliens sent wave after wave of troops to the surface. Each wave was destroyed by weapons they had never encountered. Gravity bombs that created miniature black holes. Kinetic missiles that fell from orbit like hammers of the gods. Defense systems that turned the planet's own magnetic field into a weapon. But the real surprise came from space. Captain Sung-Woo Kim commanded the ship Retribution, which looked like any other human vessel from the outside. Inside it was very different. All crew to battle stations, Sung-Woo announced. Prepare for deep space combat. His crew was not normal. Each person had been changed, enhanced, made stronger and tougher than regular humans. They could survive in vacuum for short periods. They could withstand forces that would kill anyone else. They had been created specifically for war. The Retribution attacked an alien battle group that was trying to reinforce Mars, but instead of fighting like a normal ship, it did something unprecedented. It rammed the enemy vessel and then sent its enhanced crew aboard to fight hand-to-hand in the corridors. The aliens had never experienced anything like it. Their weapons were designed to fight at long range. Their armor was meant to protect against energy blasts, but the enhanced humans fought with simple tools, knives, clubs, even their bare hands. They were faster and stronger than any alien species. More importantly, they were absolutely fearless. Within 2 hours, the enhanced humans had captured 3 enemy ships from the inside. The alien crews surrendered rather than face more of these terrifying warriors. Lieutenant Hanul Park was monitoring alien communications when she made a crucial discovery. The different alien species were having trouble working together. Each one fought according to their own ancient traditions. The Vorthak liked direct assaults. The Villani preferred long-range bombardment. The Granite Lords moved slowly but hit hard. "Sir," she reported to Admiral Lim, "they're not adapting. Each species is fighting the same way they always have. They don't learn from mistakes. This was humanity's greatest advantage. Humans had only been in space for a few centuries, but they learned fast. Every battle taught them something new. Every defeat made them stronger." Dr. Bo-Young Lee had been working on the Hydra protocol since the war began. It was simple in concept but devastating in practice. Every time the aliens destroyed a human facility, 2 more would activate. Hidden bases throughout the solar system would come online. Secret weapons would reveal themselves. "They think they're fighting an army," she explained to the Strategic Command. "They don't understand they're fighting an entire species that has prepared for this war for 50 years. The truth was becoming clear to some of the alien leaders. The Villani trade prince contacted the Vorthak fleet with a private message. "This is not what we agreed to," the prince said. "You told us the humans were primitive. You said this would be quick and clean." "It will be," Keth Moore replied, but his voice lacked confidence. "We just need more ships." "More weapons, more ships?" The prince laughed bitterly. "We've lost 10,000 vessels. The humans seem to have unlimited numbers. Every time we destroy their drones, more appear. Every time we attack their bases, new ones activate." The Granite Lord Elder joined the conversation. "My people have fought for 10,000 years. We have never seen anything like this. The humans don't just defend, they adapt. They change their tactics every hour." "They're learning from us," added the Hive Mind representative. "Every weapon we use, they find a counter for. Every strategy we try, they develop a response to." Meanwhile, Major Jae-wook-oh was deep in enemy territory. leading a strike team against an alien supply depot. The mission had started as a simple raid but had uncovered something much more important. "Command, you need to see this," he transmitted back to Earth. The data he had captured showed the truth about the Galactic Confederation. Over the past 1,000 years, they had done this 12 times before. 12 other species had been given ultimatums. 12 other civilizations had been sent to preservation colonies. None had survived. The files contained details of the extinct species. The Melodians, who had created beautiful music across 100 worlds. The Stone Singers, who had built cities that lasted for millennia. The Wanderer fleet nomads who had explored every corner of the galaxy. All gone, all destroyed by the same process that was now being used against humanity. In-Ho Kim was a civilian refugee who had lost his family in the first attacks. He had spent weeks believing they were dead. Now in the captured data, he found something that changed everything. His wife and daughter were alive. They were being held on a research station, along with thousands of other humans. The aliens were studying them, trying to understand what made humans so dangerous. The personal became universal. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about justice for the extinct civilizations. It was about rescuing the captured. It was about making sure no other species would suffer the same fate. The message that went out across all human frequencies was simple. This ends now. The war was about to change again. The aliens thought they understood human tactics. They were about to learn that humans had been holding back. The real battle was just beginning. The alien leaders thought they could retreat and regroup. They pulled back to the outer edges of the solar system, expecting humans to stay and defend their worlds. They were wrong again. Admiral Chan Woo-jung stood on the bridge of the stealth ship Ghostwalker, deep in Vorthak space. Around him, a dozen other invisible vessels waited for orders. They had traveled farther from Earth than any human ship before them. "All teams, this is Phoenix Command," he broadcast on encrypted channels. "Operation Deep Strike is now active. Show them what happens when they threaten our home." The human fleet that attacked alien territory was nothing like the swarm that had defended Earth. These ships were built for stealth and precision. They appeared without warning, struck critical targets, and vanished before anyone could respond. Captain Yejin Kim commanded the stealth destroyer Silent Thunder. Her target was a Villani trade station that supplied fuel to the Confederation fleet. She watched as her team of enhanced soldiers moved through the station like ghosts, disabling security systems and planting charges. "Remember," she told her crew, "we're not here to kill civilians. We're here to stop the war machine." The explosion that destroyed the fuel depot was visible from 3 star systems away. Without fuel, hundreds of alien warships were stranded. But more importantly, the Villani began to wonder if this war was worth the cost. Strike teams led by Major Hyun Soo Park appeared throughout Confederation space like a plague. They hit weapons factories, communication centers, and supply lines. The aliens found themselves fighting an enemy that was everywhere and nowhere. "How are they doing this?" demanded the Granite Lord Elder during an emergency council meeting. "Our space is vast. They can't be everywhere at once." "They don't need to be," replied the hive mind. "They only need to be where it hurts most." The hive mind was right. Humans had studied alien civilization for 50 years. They knew which targets would cause the most damage. A destroyed food processing center could cripple an entire world. A sabotaged communication relay could isolate whole star systems. But the most effective weapon was information. Major Soo-jin Lee led a team that specialized in psychological warfare. They hacked into alien communication networks and broadcast the truth about the Confederation's past crimes. Across the galaxy, alien civilians learned about the 12 extinct species for the first time. They saw evidence of genocide. They read the files that showed how their own leaders had lied to them about preservation colonies. The first species to break away from the Confederation was the Melodic Collective, descendants of musicians and artists. Their representative, a being called Harmony Prime, sent a secret message to Commander Soo-jin Lee. "We want to make peace with humanity." The message said, "Our people were told you were monsters. We see now who the real monsters are." Negotiations began in secret. Commander Soo-jin met with Harmony Prime on a neutral asteroid. The meeting was supposed to last 1 hour. It went on for 3 days. "Why did your leaders join the Confederation?" Soo-jin asked. "Fear," Harmony Prime replied. "The Vorthak told us that if we didn't help destroy humanity, they would destroy us instead. Many species joined for the same reason. And now we see that the Vorthak cannot protect themselves, let alone us. Your people have proven that the mighty can fall. It gives us hope. The alliance with the Melodic Collective was kept secret, but it changed everything. For the first time, humans had allies in alien space. More importantly, they had proof that not all aliens were enemies. Meanwhile, Major Jae-wook-oh continued his investigation into Confederation records. What he found made his blood run cold. The extinct species hadn't just been killed, they had been studied first. The Confederation had learned from each genocide, improving their methods each time. They're not just conquerors, he reported to Earth. They're collectors. They destroy civilizations and take their knowledge. Every extinct species made them stronger. The files showed research stations hidden throughout the galaxy, places where captured members of extinct species had been kept for experiments, places where their technology had been stolen, and their culture had been recorded before being erased forever. And on one of these stations, In-ho Kim's family was still alive. The rescue mission was the most dangerous operation humans had ever attempted. The research station was in the heart of Vorthak space, protected by a fleet of guard ships and automated defenses. Captain Dongmin Lee volunteered to lead the mission. His ship, the Redemption, was equipped with the most advanced stealth technology humans had ever built. But stealth wouldn't be enough. They would need to fight their way in and out. The assault began with a diversion. Human strike teams attacked 3 different targets in the same star system, drawing away most of the guard fleet. Then the Redemption slipped through the chaos and docked with the research station. What they found inside was horrifying. Thousands of humans in suspended animation being studied like laboratory animals. Alien scientists taking samples of their blood, their tissues, their brains, trying to understand what made humans so adaptable and dangerous. But it wasn't just humans. The station held specimens from all 12 extinct species. The Confederation had been keeping samples of their victims for 1,000 years, studying them long after their civilizations were destroyed. In-ho Kim found his wife and daughter in Section C, unconscious but alive. As he carried them to the escape pods, he made a promise. This would be the last research station. No more species would suffer this fate. The rescue operation saved 8,000 humans and uncovered evidence of crimes that shocked even the aliens' own people. The broadcast that went out across the galaxy showed the truth about the preservation colonies. They weren't colonies at all. They were laboratories. More species began to abandon the Confederation. The Merchant Guild, which controlled most trade routes, declared neutrality. The Crystal Singers, who had joined out of fear, switched sides completely. Even some Vorthak military units began to question their orders. War Prime Kethmore found his empire falling apart around him. Half his fleet had deserted. His supply lines were under constant attack. His own people were beginning to doubt him. Perhaps, suggested his second-in-command, we should consider peace talks. Never, Kethmore roared. The humans must be destroyed. If we show weakness now, every species in the galaxy will think they can challenge us. Every species in the galaxy is already challenging us, his aide pointed out. The rebellion grows stronger every day. But Kethmore was beyond reason. He had built his entire identity around being undefeated. The idea that primitive humans could bring down his 1,000-year empire was impossible to accept. He made one final decision. If he couldn't defeat humanity with fleets and armies, he would destroy their homeworld with a weapon that had never been used before. A device that could crack planets like eggs. The message intercepted by human intelligence was simple. Prepare the world killer. Target Earth. The final battle was about to begin, but this time, it wouldn't be fought in space around human worlds. It would be fought at the heart of the Vorthak Empire, on their ancient homeworld of Kethtar. The hunters had truly become the hunted. The question now was whether humanity could stop the world killer before it was too late. Time was running out. The fate of not just humanity, but all free species in the galaxy, hung in the balance. The Vorthak homeworld of Kethtar had never been attacked in its 1,000-year history. It was surrounded by defensive stations and protected by the most powerful fleet in the galaxy. The planet itself was a fortress with weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Fleet Admiral Kang-ho Lee stood on the bridge of the flagship New Dawn, watching as the combined human and allied fleet approached the enemy stronghold. Beside him were representatives from 6 different species that had joined the rebellion against the Confederation. Final count, Kang-ho said to his aide. 2,000 human ships, sir. 3,000 allied vessels. Against 12,000 Vorthak defenders and their orbital fortresses. The numbers were still against them, but this time it was different. The humans weren't fighting alone, and they weren't fighting the same way they had at the beginning of the war. Captain Miran Park commanded the advanced scouts, ships that darted ahead of the main fleet to gather intelligence. What they found surprised everyone. "Sir," she reported to Admiral Kang Ho, "the Vorthak defenses are exactly what we expected them to be." "That's good or bad?" "That's predictable," Miran replied with a slight smile. "They're using the same tactics they've used for 1,000 years. Same formations, same strategies, same weapons. This was humanity's greatest discovery about their enemies. Ancient civilizations became set in their ways. They found strategies that worked and never changed them. The Vorthak had conquered 17 species using the same methods each time. But humans were different. Humans adapted. Commander Yujin Song led the first wave of the attack. But instead of charging straight at the enemy, the human fleet did something unexpected. They scattered. "What are they doing?" War Prime Kethmore demanded from his command center on Kethtar. "This makes no tactical sense." His tactical officer studied the displays with confusion. "The human fleet is breaking apart, War Prime. Some ships are moving to attack the outer stations. Others are heading for the asteroid belt. Still others seem to be retreating." "It's chaos," Kethmore said. "They have no coordination, no plan. Attack them while they're confused." The Vorthak fleet moved to engage, following their ancient battle doctrine. Heavy ships in the center, fast ships on the flanks, support vessels in the rear. It was the same formation they had used to conquer the galaxy. That's when the trap was sprung. The human ships that had seemed to scatter were actually taking positions. Each group had a specific target and a specific job. They had studied Vorthak tactics for months, learning every strength and weakness. Captain J. Minot led the group that attacked the orbital stations. But instead of trying to destroy them, his ships began broadcasting surrender demands. "Attention, Vorthak defenders," his message said. "Your War Prime is using a world killer weapon against civilian targets. This violates every law of war. Surrender now and you will be treated according to galactic conventions." The message was broadcast in perfect Vorthak language, using their own military protocols. It confused the defenders just long enough for human strike teams to board the stations and take control. Meanwhile, Major Sun Ho Kim was leading enhanced soldiers through the corridors of the main orbital fortress. They moved like ghosts, avoiding major confrontations and targeting key systems. Within 2 hours, they had taken control of the station's defensive weapons. The guns that were supposed to protect Kethtar turned on the Vorthak fleet instead. But the real surprise came from Lieutenant Colonel Hee Jin Nam, who had been studying captured Vorthak technology. She had discovered something that changed everything. "Admiral," she reported to Kang Ho, "the World Killer isn't just a weapon. It's their power source too. The entire planet runs on the same system." "What does that mean?" "It means if we can shut down the World Killer, we shut down their planetary defenses, everything. Shields, weapons, life support systems." "And how do we shut it down?" Heijin smiled. "We asked them to do it for us. The plan was insane, but it was also perfect. Instead of trying to fight through the planetary defenses, the humans would make the Vorthak shut them down voluntarily." Captain Wanjin Park led a small team of ships directly toward the planet's surface. They broadcast a simple message. "War Prime Kethmore, we challenge you to single combat. If you win, we'll surrender. If we win, you'll shut down the World Killer." "Impossible," Kethmore's advisors said. "You can't accept a challenge from primitives." "I can and I will," Kethmore replied. "Let them come. I will destroy their champion personally and end this war." The single combat wasn't between individuals. It was between fleets. Kethmore's personal guard of 50 ships against 50 human vessels, with the planet's population watching. But the humans had one final surprise. They didn't fight like themselves. They fought like Vorthak. Admiral Hyun Jung Kim commanded the human force in the challenge. She had studied every battle the Vorthak had ever fought. She knew their tactics better than they did. And she used their own strategies against them. The battle lasted 4 hours. When it was over, Kethmore's entire guard was destroyed or captured. The War Prime himself was taken alive, his flagship disabled by weapons he had never encountered. "How?" he asked when he was brought before Admiral Hyun Jung. "How did you defeat me using my own tactics?" Because we learned from you, she replied. We studied every battle you ever fought. We understood every strategy you ever used. Then we did it better. But you're primitives, savages. How can savages fight better than their masters? Admiral Hyun Jung looked at the defeated War Prime with something like pity. That's where you went wrong. You thought age meant wisdom. You thought being first meant being best, but we had something you never did. What? We had teachers. 17 species worth of teachers. Every civilization you destroyed taught us something. Every mistake you made we learned from. You didn't just fight humans, Kethmore. You fought the combined knowledge of everyone you ever killed. The World Killer was shut down as agreed. The planetary defenses went offline. Across Kethtar, Vorthak civilians emerged from their bunkers to see human and allied ships landing in their cities. But the humans didn't come as conquerors. They came as liberators. Teacher Seo-Yun Lee was among the first to establish contact with Vorthak civilians. She found them confused and frightened. For 1,000 years, they had been told they were the supreme species in the galaxy. Now their empire was in ruins. What happens to us now? Asked a young Vorthak child. Now you learn, Seo-Yun replied gently. You learn about the species your leaders destroyed. You learn about the civilizations that were lost. You learn to do better. The war was over, but the real work was just beginning. Humanity had a choice. They could become the new galactic rulers, using their military might to impose their will on everyone else. Or they could build something better. They chose to build. The Galactic Council that replaced the Confederation was different from anything that had existed before. Every species had an equal voice. Decisions were made by consensus, not by force. And at the center of it all was a simple principle. No species should ever face extinction again. Admiral Kang-Ho Lee stood before the assembled representatives of 40 different species. In the audience were beings that had never seen each other before, brought together by the end of the Vorthak Empire. We have learned something important, he said. War is not about who is strongest. It's about who can adapt fastest, who can learn the most, who can change when change is needed. He paused, looking at the faces around him. Humans, Vorthak, Villani, Melodic Collective, Crystal Singers, and dozens of others. The Vorthak thought they were fighting primitives. He continued, but they were fighting the combined wisdom of every species they had ever encountered. They were fighting teachers they had created without knowing it. The final transmission went out across the galaxy, broadcast from Earth to the farthest stars. It was the same message that had started the war, but with new words added. You chose battle. Now watch how we fight. Threaten the innocent and see our fury. Seek peace and witness our mercy. Try to destroy us and learn why we survive. But come in, friendship, and discover what we can build together. The galaxy was quiet for a long moment. Then, one by one, species that had never spoken to each other began to talk. Old enemies became new allies. Ancient fears gave way to fresh hope. War Prime Kethmore, in his prison cell, asked his human guard one final question. Why didn't you kill us all? After everything we did, why show mercy? The guard, a young woman named Min Jung Kim, considered the question carefully. Because, she said finally, dead enemies can't become friends, and the galaxy has had enough war. Outside the prison, the work of rebuilding continued. It would take generations to undo the damage of 1,000 years of oppression. But for the first time in galactic history, every species was working together toward the same goal. Peace, understanding, and the promise that never again would extinction be the price of being different.